Don't Let Your Employees Hold You Hostage by Clay Clark and Jonathan Kelly. Fun fact, 75% of employees steal from the workplace. Whoa. In this candid, polarizing, and fact-filled book, I explain to you how you can prevent your business from ever being held hostage from your employees again. Yes! Throughout this book, I feature a character by the name of Kermit, who you will quickly see represents most employees. And over time, he has a progression that is predictable, or a regression that is predictable. Over time, he loses his enthusiasm for his new job. He begins to show up a little bit late, dress up a little bit less, be a little more passive-aggressive, call in sick, not call in at all, and eventually he actually tries to hold his employer hostage. And that, my friends, is what will happen if you don't implement the proven best practice systems in this book. If you've ever been held hostage by your employees, this book was written to help you. Don't Let Your Employees Hold You Hostage is written by myself, Clay Clark, and Jonathan Kelly. However, this book will be read by myself, Clay Clark, and Mr. Jason Beasley. Jason Beasley, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
Are you prepared psychologically and physically to read your first audiobook?
I am so ready. I got enough rest just hoping we do something epic like this today.
And my understanding is in preparation for reading this audiobook, you have actually managed people in the past.
I have.
How many people have you managed at one point at Elephant in the Room Men's Grooming Lounge?
At the most, it was around 40, 50.
Okay, and I just want to take a moment to brag on some of the great people you've managed.
Oh, yeah.
I believe, did you ever manage Katie, or was Katie before your time?
Katie was before my time, but I hear that she was a legend.
But you managed, or you've worked with Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Carly does a great job.
She does.
Carly out in South Tulsa, an unbelievable employee.
Absolutely.
Manna does a great job.
Oh, Manna's the best.
Manna does a great job. There are so many great teammates you've managed over the years, all right?
But sure.
This book is not a negative book. It's not meant to hurt anybody or attack anybody. It's just meant to get the hard facts out there. It's not a comfortable idea, but it's true that according to the U.S. Chamber, 75% of employees now steal from the workplace, and most do so repeatedly.
Right.
It's not a positive idea or a negative idea. It's just a fact that according to Inc. magazine, 85% of employees now lie on their resumes. But yet you've done a great job finding people, managing people. What would you say was your most difficult part of managing the elephant in the room? Was it ordering equipment? Was it ordering supplies? Was it managing the real estate? Was it handling the sales? Was that the biggest issue, or what was the hardest aspect of managing the elephant in the room and the 3 different stores and the 4,000 plus customers?
So what was funny is the 4,000 plus customers were easy because we're providing the service for them.
Okay. All right.
But the hardest part for me was definitely team management.
Managing humans.
Mm-hmm, managing humans.
So this book was written for people like you.
Yeah, if I had that book when I started, because I ordered this off of Amazon last week and did some deep diving, and if I'd had that book before I managed, I would have been a much better manager.
And you know what? I am a horrible person because I hired you previous to writing this book. But now Jonathan Kelly and I have written this book together, and with your permission, I'm ready for you to read while I sit back and judge.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
A quick, hard statistical look at the truth about America's current employees. Note, truth is...
Oh, see, this is, when you read an audiobook, what happens is weird things happen because you now realize you're reading a book.
Right.
Okay. All right, continue.
Note, truth isn't negative. Truth is just knowing the facts.
True. Okay, I'll tell you what, you read the next page, and I'll read the next page after that.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Here we go.
As of the time that I am writing this book, a.k.a. you, the unemployment rate in America stands at a rate that is hovering between 3.75% to 4%. Yet, according to the U.S. Chamber and CBS News, 75% of employees are stealing from the workplace. According to Inc. magazine, 85% of employees caught applications fibbing on their resume applications.
85. Think about that for a second, Thrive Nation. 85% of employers caught applicants fibbing on their resumes or applications. Think about this. The Washington Post here. The Washington Post. This is a story you can find there called 5 Myths About Cheating. It says 78% of men that you are interviewing admit to having cheated on their partner. Well, if someone's going to cheat on their partner and someone's going to lie on their resume and someone's going to steal from the workplace, that means 75% of the people you're managing you probably can't trust.
That's true.
Was that shocking to you when you first discovered that, Jason?
At first, yes, and then less so as I went on.
It's kind of like managing a pirate ship.
That's true.
I feel like being a manager today is like managing a pirate ship. Now, why is this important to know?
Wow.
It's important because the vast majority of people you're managing are not behaving like good people. Most people are not good people. And before reading this chapter, I believe that deep down you want to believe that most people are honest, decent, and hardworking Americans who are just trying to do the best they possibly can to earn a living and to provide for their families. Just like you once did, just like I once did. However, this belief is only true if you're running a business that only employs the honest and hardworking 15% of the population, which I actually have thought about doing, and I think in most of our companies now we have, I would say, Jason, now don't you think that 85% of our people are really good people now?
True.
But we've had to sift through the bad 85%.
So many.
We've had to sift through so many people. We just wanted to hire good people. We've had to sift through so many people. My friend, most employees on the planet Earth are going to come to work with you because they're excited about the new opportunity for growth. And then they are going to go through the following predictable cycle by default that I call spoiling on their expiration date. Wow, these guys are great readers. This is my favorite audiobook of all time. They should take this show on the road.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
Oh, look at that super sexy thing over there. Look at that. That appears to be a new job opportunity. Oh, she's hot. I think I'm just going to run on over there and apply for that job because that sexy job could be my job. So hot. There appears to be a lot of candidates here at this job interview / bar, but today I'm wearing the good shirt. I got my bedazzled jeans on. I've got a fake resume, and I'm going to go apply. Let's see what happens.
Step 1, the dating phase. They're going to dress up every day for their new job like they are going on a first date.
During the job interview process, and when Kermit showed up to work for his first day of work, he dressed to impress. Oh, yes, he did dress to impress. And do you know why? Do you want to know why? He dressed to impress because he wanted you to believe that he was a nice dressing, high quality, and dependable employee who you could trust. In fact, subconsciously, I believe that at this point in the hiring process, Kermit actually believed that this was finally going to be the job where he could gain traction because he had decided that he was not going to screw things up this time. He believed that he was actually going to try hard at this job because here he could make a career. With you, he could make a career. At your job, he could make a career. And for those first few euphoric weeks of employment, Kermit honors the promises that he made to himself and to you. In fact, at first, Kermit not only showed up to work on time, but he actually showed up to work early to show you that he was serious about his career with you. And although Kermit knew that you were busy managing the other 50-plus responsibilities on your plate at any time as an employer or a manager, he knew that you could have made a little more time for him. He felt just slightly frustrated that you didn't even recognize him for arriving early to work for 3 days in a row. Fun fact, 85% of job applicants lie on their resumes. Inc. magazine. Think about that. 85% of job applicants lie on resumes. My friends, that's the truth. I really like the way you guys end your chapters and everything. This book is awesome. Have you guys ever thought about taking this show on the road?
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
Step 2, the excuse phase.
Hey, boss, I hate to leave you a voicemail here, but the traffic on the way to work here has been incredible today. I think I've come down with something, and I'm going to have to go to the doctor. So my tire's flat, and I don't know how to change it, so I'm going to go to a mechanic and have it towed, so I'm not going to make it in today. I'm not sure what's wrong with the alarm company, but I bought an alarm, a very nice alarm, and the alarm did not go off.
Well, I just have to say, emotionally, I'm not prepared to handle the day, so I need to take a personal day.
I overslept, and I must have been something I ate.
I swear I plugged my phone in. I know I set 7 alarms, and none of them went off.
I don't normally do this, but I just forgot I was scheduled today, you know what I'm saying? Because what had happened was, I thought it was a Tuesday, and then it was a Wednesday, and then I was like, uh-oh.
I'm just gonna level with you here, boss. I drank too much last night, so I'm not gonna be in.
I lost 8 pounds of blood last night out of my body. But I should be fine today.
My ex-boyfriend is in town, and I know I shouldn't, but I have to just go talk to him, see if we can make things better, so I'm gonna have to take the next 3 days.
I have a massive rash, and it is burning all over my body, and I want to show it to you. I need to show it to somebody.
Mentally, I'm here, but physically, there's something wrong, so I'm gonna need to go to the doctor.
I have a massive sunburn. It's like the sun's solar rays just sizzled my body. It was sizzle, and I was like, I felt like I was baking. I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, my body has been burned.
My kid sneezed in my face, so now I'm pretty sure I have chicken pox.
My back hurts really bad, the lower part. It's all down there, and it's like tremors. It's like a tremor. I don't know what it is.
I do not have enough money in my bank account to fill up my car, so I'm not gonna make it in.
My babysitter bailed hardcore. I mean, this is just, I had it all planned and everything. I have a huge sinus issue. I was canoeing down the river, and our canoe got stuck. I really need this job, and I hate to leave you this voicemail. But when you get this, I just want you to know I did my best. I need this job, but I got locked inside the bathroom at the gay bar. I jiggled on the handle, I wiggled it, I jiggled and wiggled, I couldn't get out. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Step 2, the excuse phase. Dressing up less and showing up to work late, on occasion. After 41 days on the job and over time, you begin to notice Kermit dressing up less and less and actually beginning to show up to work wearing clothing that is slightly out of dress code, while being 1 to 2 minutes late for every meeting. After working diligently for you 3 incredible weeks in a row, Kermit is growing frustrated with you and the job because you have yet to recognize him for his potential to be the best employee you have ever had, and you haven't yet promoted him to super levels of management based on his first 3 weeks with you.
Let's break that down. Kermit has been with you now for 3 weeks, and he's grown just a little bit frustrated that you haven't promoted him to super levels of management based upon these 3 first outstanding weeks. So on a Thursday night, Kermit subconsciously wants to teach you a lesson when he agreed to go out with his friends for Thirsty Thursdays at a local club. While dancing, partying, and hanging out with his ambition-less, promiscuous party people and friends, Kermit quickly lost track of time and ended up waking up in a young lady's apartment the next day at 9:15 a.m., which means that Kermit was 1 full hour and 15 minutes late to arrive for his shift and got to work still wearing the clothes from the night before. Oh, yes. But clever Kermit sprayed on some cologne so that at least he smelled fresh and clean. You talked with Kermit one-on-one to make sure that he was okay, and yet he felt singled out and like you are judging him, despite the fact that he had been to work on time and consistently for the previous 3 weeks. Kermit made the poor life choices. Yes, Kermit made the poor life choices, but Kermit is now mad at you and you yet again because you are the only person in his life attempting to hold him accountable. Fun fact, the Kermits of the world hate the following verse. Proverbs 10:4. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Here's a notable quotable for you. Understand, people will constantly attack you in life. One of their main weapons will be to instill in you doubts about yourself, your worth, your abilities, your potential. They will often disguise this as their objective opinion, but invariably it has a political purpose. They want to keep you down. Robert Greene, the best-selling author of The 48 Laws of Power Mastery, The 50th Law. You should read his books, by the way. Go out there and get the book, The 48 Laws of Power. Read that book. Read his book, The Laws of Human Nature. And you'll understand that what Robert Greene is saying is true. I'll read it again. It's worth repeating. He says, understand, people will constantly attack you in life. One of their main weapons will be to instill in you doubts about yourself, your worth, your abilities, your potential. They will often disguise this as their objective opinion, but invariably, it has a political purpose to it. They want to keep you down. Jason, have you ever had to, as a manager, ever had to mention to somebody that they were running a little bit late and you had to hold them accountable, and then they attacked you as a result of you just asking where they were?
Every time somebody's late.
What kind of things do they say? If someone's late by 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and you say, hey, well, first off, how do you even approach it? What do you say to somebody when you're trying to do a little correction there when somebody's late the first time?
So I always approach it from an area of understanding. It's like, hey, I hope everything's okay. Is there anything that I can do to help? Just try to figure out if there is like a bigger life issue to let them know I care.
And what kind of response do you usually get from that? Like, what do people say?
Well, you get anything from, I don't control the flow of traffic, or
I don't
stoplights.
control. I do not control the flow of traffic.
Right.
My favorite is, have you never been late?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Have you never been late? So what I want to throw out is the human race has 3 excuse mechanisms. There's just 3. There's only 3. Okay. One, it's always I forgot. Mm-hmm. Because who hasn't forgot something? So we like to say, I forgot. So whenever you hold someone accountable for anything, whether it's being on time, whether it be charging the right price, whether it be zeroing out their cash register, whether it being charging sales tax, no matter what you try to hold an employee accountable for, there are 3 excuses the human race has come up with. This just in. Excuse number 1 that you're going to hear often. Excuse number 1, I forgot. Now, I forgot that. I forgot. I'm so sorry. So it's kind of hard to write somebody up or correct somebody when they say that. The second one is, well, there must have been some kind of miscommunication. Again, there must have been some kind of miscommunication because what had happened was I thought you had said to be here at 9. And so I was here at 9, because that's what I was told, right? And miscommunication, it's like, okay, maybe you could do a better job of communication. I think if there was better communication from the management, then we would not be having this conversation, right? Jason, have you ever heard that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like if there was, all of a sudden we attack the management overall, and we say if there would have been better communication for management, I think I would have been here on time.
It's like the power move. I'm going to shift all of the blame onto you and your organization to make it look like more people than I failed.
Okay, so again, what you do is one is that people say, I forgot. Mm-hmm. Second, there must have been a miscommunication. And the third is the emotional attack. Either people take it really high or they take it really low. High would be this. Go ahead, Jason, let's role play. Let's pretend that I am late. Mm-hmm. And you give me the correction, and I'll take it to the high level.
Gotcha.
Here we go. Ready? So, hey, boss, I'm running a little bit late there. A little traffic. Woo, just I was out there driving, a little bit of traffic, and I'm going, okay. I had to stop by Starbucks, and just the traffic there was crazy. So I'm sorry about that.
Hey, I completely understand these things happen. Typically, what I would do if I was late is I would set my alarm about 30 minutes early. That way, it allows me to kind of beat that traffic and stop at Starbucks and still be on time, if not early to work.
Really? Okay, I had a personal issue going on. I was like, my wife was so mad, and it's just like, you don't even care. You ever had that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's when they start to break down and cry, and you're like course correcting, and then the tears come out. You're like, ah.
And then they start to do this, and it's like they're not going to argue; they're going to tear it out. So you're going to go, and you're going like, how do you deal with that? Because they're taking it to. I say hi. There's a lot of crying, a lot of tears. It's like, it would be pretty girls getting out of speeding tickets.
Right.
Have you seen this phenomenon? Pretty girls tend to get out of speeding tickets. But, ma'am, can you step outside of the vehicle? Ma'am, can you step outside of the vehicle? So that you pull over the car. Ma'am, hello. Can I see your driver's license and registration? Ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over? Ma'am, if you could stop talking, stop crying, I just want to let you know you were going 45 and a 30, a school zone there, and I just wanted to let you know you need to slow her down. My babies. Ma'am, what about your babies? No, we're okay here. No ticket issued. I had a young lady that was going through a lot here. We'll let her go. Ma'am, we're good. I know you don't have your license. You need or your insurance, and I know that your tail light's out and your tags are expired, and you were driving 45 and a 30, and I know that you were driving the wrong way into incoming traffic, and you have what appears to be a solo cup filled with straight wild turkey and vodka mix with purple drink. But you know what? I am going to let you go this time because ma'am, just be safe on the road, okay there? Okay? Thank you. Officer drives away. And then she's in the car going, yes! Woo! Yes! I tricked them. No ticket for me. Okay. Is that not a move?
It's a super move. And
it worked for the female race. It doesn't work so well for the dudes.
No.
Now let me go with the dude move, okay?
Hey, man, I'm sorry I'm running late today. Traffic was crazy. Sorry about that.
Yeah, hey, man, you know what happens? Let's go ahead and get you set up, and then, tomorrow, maybe leave about 30 minutes earlier, and I think we'll be good.
Are you really going to talk to me like that? Are you kidding me? Listen, dude. Listen. I'm not going to threaten you. I'm not going to say that I'm going to beat your but I will let me tell you, man. You just don't want to get started with me because I am the kind of person who would typically beat but I'm not going to beat your ass because I'm not an ass beater today because I'm in a good mood. You want to get me into a bad mood? That's fine. This is me having a good mood. Have you seen that move?
Yeah.
The violent, threatening guy?
Yeah. It's way past passive aggressive. It's just full frontal aggressive.
And what they do is they use apophysis a lot. Like, I'm not going to call my friends and tell them to come by here and kick your I'm not a kicker. That's not what I do. I never use the word I would never, ever say the word I have never said the word not going to say the word but I'll tell you this. I would typically beat in this kind of a situation. Right. I'm going to get back to work now. I mean, do you not see that?
Just the super high, then shut it off.
Right. So I'm just saying, if you're out there today and you are managing employees and you are at step 2, just recognize step 3 is a blasty blast, and it's coming up next.
Step 3, the yeah, but phase. Yeah, but it was on this day that Kermit began to passively aggressively disagree with you during a meeting for the first time.
During a meeting with your team, you said, it's super important that our website interface is easy to use for 99% of customers. And Kermit said, well, if our website doesn't provide extensive questions, badges, and certifications of completion, then how can we really call ourselves the best in the world? Well, then you said, Kermit, we've improved the lives of our clients over the years, of hundreds of our clients over the years. And, but in front of your whole team, this once coachable Kermit now shouts, so you don't have a chart somewhere that could statistically prove that you know what you're talking about? Kermit says this while being out of dress code, wearing skinny jeans, and sleeping with your former and still married secretary, which are both violations of your handbook, unless your handbook says, I guess I don't know if you need to put in your handbook that you can't sleep with your secretary who's married to someone else. I'm not sure if that's, I don't know. Well, that'd be an HR compliance thing we could talk about later. Approximately 4 weeks ago, Kermit was appreciative, coachable, and committed to helping you achieve your goals. Now, however, Kermit has become frustrated and has become a passive-aggressive member of the I have the courage to complain, but I don't have the courage to quit club. And being an exclusive member of this club allows Kermit to feel as though he has the upper hand now, and that you, as the owner and founder, should somehow feel bad because you don't agree with the consistently wrong worldviews, strategies, and ideas of Kermit. This is where your employees start to attempt to take you hostage. Although they did not start the company, they did not put equity into the company, they did not work for years without a salary, they've been paid the entire time. Oh yes, they now are officially a card-carrying member of the I Am Too Valuable to Fire Club. And so their entitlement starts to set in. Now, Jason, have you ever seen this condition happen? 'Cause we have a really, really great team of people at the Elephant in the Room now. But as we've sifted through people that maybe were not so great to get to the great team we have today, have you ever seen it to get to a place? Have you ever seen a situation where an employee gets to a place where they actually begin to think and even maybe say that I am too valuable to fire?
Oh, 100% of the time.
What do you mean? What happens?
So you have the person that will start to show up late or start to call in excessively, asking to leave early, and then the second that you put a new policy in place or you try to just do some simple course correction, just some management, like first and foremost, how dare you? I've been doing this for I don't know how many years. I have all these certifications. All of my people love me.
So let me give an example that the human mind can handle that's real, very specific, that relates to my early, one of my first business venture, DJconnection.com. I had a policy, and you tell me if this policy is crazy or not, okay?
All right.
I had a policy I put in that said all of the DJs must have all of their CDs. Back in the day, we had CDs. There was dinosaurs running around the planet. People used to call in long distance. Boop, 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 boop. People would call that long. Remember that boop, 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 boop. And then the phone would ring, and the phone was attached to a wall. All that stuff was going on, and there were CDs.
Right.
And when those CDs, compact discs, were used, that's what we would use to play the music for the wedding receptions and corporate events that we hosted. And the guys would come back, and the CDs, I noticed that over time, they were getting less and less organized. Some guys weren't even putting the CDs back in the cases after playing them. They would just leave them floating around loosely. And the CDs could get scratched. And so I made a policy that after your event, your CDs, your compact discs, had to be in alphabetical order. Now, why do you think I made that policy?
Well, one, so they would actually go back in the case, but also, two, to see who was doing it.
So I made the policy that after you unload your equipment after the show, you need to take as much time as you need to unload your gear properly, which they'd always done. But now you have to alphabetize your CDs, which should take like 5 to 10 minutes or no minutes if you stay on top of it before you leave. And if you don't, I'm taking $40. The $40 bonus we had a bonus that we were giving guys for certain performance metrics. I'm taking away the bonus for that particular show if you don't stay and do it.
Right.
What do you think the reaction was by these 45 guys when I introduced this policy to make sure that, oh, by the way, we could actually find music at weddings, and then, oh, by the way, the CDs wouldn't get scratched, and then, oh, by the way, we would be professional, because nothing's weirder than being at a wedding reception where there's dead air because the DJ can't find the music. Right. What do you think the reaction was? Do you think this reaction was greeted with great enthusiasm, that this idea that we could improve, that this quest for excellence would be greeted with cheers and applause by the disc jockeys? What kind of reaction do you think I got?
Well, me before managing, when I was first getting into it, before I had run into things like this, would say, oh, they probably thought that was a great idea. It's going to save them time. It's going to be more structured. It makes sense. It's part of a checklist. But having tried to implement systems, even as easy as they are, just holding people accountable, I can almost guarantee that they fired back at you immediately. Oh, that's a big waste of time. That's not fair. Anything in that ballpark.
Well, this is what Steve Jobs says, and I think it's very important that if you're out there looking to manage people, you might want to look at people that have managed a lot of people. You might want to talk to people. I mean, a guy like Dr. Zellner has managed a massive team of people for a long time. So a lot of the things he told me, I maybe at first they seemed counterintuitive. At first they didn't feel good. At first I thought maybe he was maybe even wrong, because I thought, well, maybe he doesn't know the unique situation that I'm in here. Well, this is what Steve Jobs says. Steve Jobs says, some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. Steve Jobs said, some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. And he goes on to talk about how, as a manager, it's your job to set the bar. You have to set the expectation. The employees are not going to, by default, perform at a high level. You have to set the level of excellence. If you're listening right now, and you've ever played a sport, and you've ever had a great coach in that sport, let me tell you about that relationship. Okay, one, that relationship probably wasn't super positive at first. You probably didn't love that coach, like you didn't want to hang out with the coach. The coach who made you run a little bit faster, who made you lose that weight, who made you memorize that playbook, who made you show up on time, who insisted that you hit that block or that you did that thing or that you used the proper posture or proper form, or if you were in band, the coach that insisted on you using the proper embouchure, the person who insisted that you played the scales the right way on the piano, the teacher that helped you improve in speech, the teacher you had, the pastor who held you accountable. You probably didn't like them at first, and I'll tell you why you didn't like them at first, because they pushed you to be your best. And when you get pushed to be your best, it is a human nature for you not to like that kind of accountability. Why, Jason? Why do people typically not, why do people typically not like to be pushed?
If somebody doesn't have like aspirational goals or the mindset that they want to improve, typically they're not going to get the value or the benefit out of being pushed, because they just want to, they don't want to come up with the solution. They want the solution given to them. They want to have everything just clear, defined. And so even if you're doing all of that and you're holding them accountable, at the same time, like, how dare this person? Who is this person? Why are they saying this to me?
Kobe Bryant, the NBA Hall of Fame basketball player who played 20 years in the NBA.
Yeah, the Mamba.
Made the All-Star team, I believe, 18 of those 20 years.
Wow.
He was an NBA MVP, won 5 National Basketball Association championships. He said this. He says, I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't want to understand you. I don't want to understand you. Kobe Bryant. I mean, Kobe Bryant, he just says, I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. My friend, you cannot lower your expectations to meet the demands of your employees, because let me tell you what, you can never get low enough. No matter how low you set that bar. Jason, what happens if your employees are late on average by 15 minutes, and so you say, okay, I'm going to make a rule. You're not going to be considered late unless you're more than 15 minutes late. What happens?
They would start to be 30 minutes late.
Right. Is that not what happens?
Oh, absolutely. Every single time.
If you have a policy that says, like at Disney or at our company, Elephant in the Room, you can't bring your cell phone into the workplace. What happens if you let somebody bring their cell phone into the workplace?
Well, no work gets done, or they indulge in other passive-aggressive acts, and it creates this weird negative storm. Then our customers feel like we're not taking care of them.
Right.
It's another distraction. They're not listening to you.
My friend, if you find yourself in this phase of the business, you might say, well, okay, I know the problem. What can I do about it? Well, what you can do about it is every single Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, what do we do, Jason?
A group interview.
What does that look like?
Well, it looks like we have people that show up, and we do basically your standard hour-long interview where people present their resumes, but they all sit down. It allows you to vet everybody in one place. You go over everything as far as like expectations, compensation, the general vibe of everything.
Would you be okay if I actually played audio from one of our group interviews?
Absolutely.
I'm going to do it. So now, without any further ado, here's audio of me actually conducting a group interview. Well, on second thought, before we do that, let me just say this. The group interview, in order to conduct an effective group interview, let me explain what the group interview is and why you would do the group interview and all the questions you may have about this. We post every week on Indeed, Craigslist, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those things. LinkedIn, Facebook, Indeed, Craigslist. We post every week that we're now hiring, right? We never turn off that ad. That's step one. Never turn off that advertisement, because you always want to have a pipeline of new candidates coming into the business. Otherwise, your business gets stagnant. What if we're already fully staffed? Never stop that advertisement. Just keep that ad on forever. Never stop the now hiring philosophy. Then, all the candidates who apply for the job, respond to them and let them know that you're going to be interviewing them this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. or whatever night you want to go with. But don't interview them during the middle of the day. Why? Because if they already have a job, that would cause them to have to lie to their current employer to even get to the interview. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you post your job posts when? Every week. On what? Indeed, Craigslist, don't overcomplicate it, places where people are looking for jobs. Put your job post out every week. Then respond to all candidates and let them know, I'd love to interview you this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. And then have all the candidates show up at one time and then interview them all at one time. Why? Well, because like half of the candidates won't even show up at all. They'll just ghost you. 2, 85% of the resumes are completely fictitious. If you read the research from Inc. magazine, it's crazy. 85% of the resumes are completely bogus. So don't waste your time reading those resumes. I mean, it'd make more sense to read a fiction book like Star Wars. Just read Star Wars instead of resumes, because it's the same thing. It's both fiction-based, and then you might end up interviewing a Wookiee anyway. So the point is, just make sure that you don't read those resumes. So step 1 again, post every week. Craigslist, Facebook, Indeed, LinkedIn, post. Step 2, respond with, hey, I'd like to interview you this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Boom. Then interview them all at one time. And this saves you the hours wasted by reading the resumes, the wasted hours by having people not show up or show up late, the wasted just awkwardness of meeting another man one-on-one and talking to them for a half hour about bogus things like, what's your biggest weakness? And then they've already read that question, by the way, online, like how to respond to that. So they're going to say something insincere like, well, really, my biggest weakness was I tend to be what you would call over-organized. I over-organize myself. I overwork. I tend to not know when to shut it off. A lot of times I go home at 7 o'clock at night after working 3 hours for free. I tend to get to work 3 hours early. I tend to just I burn the candle at both ends. You know what I mean? I burn that candle like a candle in the wind. And I just work. I'm just too organized. I'm too humble. A lot of times I'm just like, who's the best in this business? And I'm like, well, I hate to, brag on myself, so I'm not going to do that. I don't brag on I'm too nice sometimes. I let people walk all over me. But not too much, because I'm a really effective manager. I'm almost too effective. That's like I'm so effective I leave people in the dust. But I wouldn't say that because I'm so humble, and I'm always on time. I've never been late. Even the times I'm late, it's like just because of traffic. You know what I'm saying? So what was the question again? I mean, that's the kind of crap you deal with every single time you interview people. So this is me. This is actual audio of me conducting the group interview for your audio benefit. Okay, so I'm Clay Clark, and this is my office, and we're hiring for a myriad of different positions, and I'll open it up for you guys to ask questions. So Justice, is that right? I'll start with you, so because you're in the back. So Justice, what questions do you have?
Well, you said there's myriad of positions available. I was wondering which specific ones, and if there's any more that you could apply for one.
Sure. What position did you remember reading about online? Okay, cool. Let's talk about that one. So marketing assistant, and feel free to take that notes as you go on. Everybody, if you're looking for a product or service, you typically search on
branding.
Probably branding. How would you find if you want to go, like if you're in Florida tonight, you're going to go to a movie, or you're going to go, I don't know. What do you typically do to find
Some
people?
people go to third-party vendors.
What do you do?
To search what you want to.
That's right. See, so 94% of people who are in Forbes right now use Google for everything. Mm-hmm. But I think in any room, like 1% of 1% know how Google works. So I grew up crazy poor, and I was in a company called DJConnection.com. It still exists. But I grew up really poor. I was 16. My dad was delivering pizzas. I'm 38, and my dad was 38. He was delivering pizzas. He had a degree from ORU, top of his class,
Right.
Tom Clark. And my dad just didn't know how, he had a good business degree, but they don't teach business. And so my dad, we just grew up really poor. And so my whole thing was like I had to find a way to not be poor. So I started a DJ company out of my dorm room. Do you know why I started a DJ company out of my dorm room?
Because it was fun and you enjoyed it.
And
something that you were really good at, and it was something that was needed, probably demand.
What do you think, Justice?
I think it's something that you love, something that you do, but the unique enjoy someone that exploits something you're good at.
And I'd say I wish that it was that deep. It was like I'm crazy poor, and the barrier of entry is pretty low, and most DJs are terrible. So I'm like, even if I'm bad, I'm better than them. So I had a service called DJ Connection. This was my pitch. And your name is Barbara. So I'd say, Barbara, I'm going to DJ for your wedding, your birthday, whatever. And it's $1 if you hire me. That's what it costs. And then if you're happy, you can pay me based on your happiness. So if a 10, perfect 10, I'd love to get paid $600 because everybody else charges that. But if I'm terrible, it's $1. And everyone charges 4 hours. I do unlimited time. And everyone's like, are you kidding me? And I go, nope. And I help you plan your wedding first. So pretty much every bride at every wedding show said yes every single time. Mm-hmm. And I just grew it, and so when I sold it, we were doing 4,000 weddings a year. So it was like big, 80 weddings a weekend. And then my wife pointed out to me in 2006 or 5, I was Entrepreneur of the Year for the state of Oklahoma from the Small Business Administration. She's like, what you do works for other things. You shouldn't be a DJ. And I'm like, why? She's like, because you're a grown man. Okay, fine. So we have 5 kids, and I built that business, and then I started teaching people how to grow their businesses, but not in like and if you're in a multi-level, I'm not attacking you. I'm saying, but not in a multi-level kind of way, not in a 100% commission kind of way, not in like a get-rich real estate kind of way, but like, hey, you're a chiropractor, and let's sell some stuff. Or, hey, you're a home builder. So now my client, we worked with Maurice Kanbar, who is the founder of Sky Vodka, So when he bought a third of downtown Tulsa, if you look at my name, Clay Clark, Tulsa World, you'll see the articles. We helped lease, downtown used to be dead. We helped lease we helped basically bring tenants downtown. Here you go. The deals we did was Elote was the first downtown restaurant, Mayo Hotel. We worked with them with the bar and all that. Anyway, that's what we did. And so then people kept reaching out. And so now we work with 160 clients. That's the number, 160. 160 clients. Most of them are not in Tulsa. And Shaw Homes is the largest home builder in Oklahoma. That's one of our clients. Total Ending Concepts, that's one of our clients. Barbie Cookies was one of our clients. Papagallo's Pizzeria is a client. Oxyfresh is a client. UPS has been a client. Maytag has been a client. So, Ben, come on up here, Ben. Woo, this is Ben. Yeah, let's hear for Ben. Yeah, Ben, yeah. Yes. All right. Now, Ben, where were you working at? So how long have you been here?
I've been here 8 months. Before that, I was at Lowe's for 8 months. And before that, I was working as a handyman for about 10 months.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me that.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Great, that's great.
Oh, yeah. Can you do a lot? Is he handy?
I've done ceiling fans. I can do drywall and stuff. I hate tiling.
No tile. No. I just think we found. My wife's been like praying for a handyman. It's like, dear Jesus, can I have a handyman? But anyway, so and then Ben, where did you start? Like, what was your role at first?
I was on the search engine optimization team, so I write the search engine content. So the content that is going to be going on to the web page for all the clients.
Had you ever done this before?
I thought I was illiterate. I think I got C's in English, like high school and college. So I never thought I would ever be writing for my professional career.
And then what do you do now?
I am the SEO. I think I promoted to czar, actually.
I'm the
SEO czar.
Very official.
So I manage a team of 8 now, and they're writing content all day long. So it's my job to make sure that the quality of the content's going to be good, make sure that there's not going to be any duplicates, because Google loathes duplicate content with a passion, so I loathe it with a passion.
How much could you get paid per hour right now at your current rate?
Current rate, I can do about 25 to 27 an hour.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you said you're writing. Are you writing like a literary artist, or are you talking about programming?
So not programming. I don't know that yet.
Okay,
but
like HTML.
Yeah. So we use so it's called Dragon Diction. So we just like speak it, and instead of typing it, because that would take forever. Plus I can't spell. So but then I just talk. I just kind of write that content as in like 2 500-word articles.
And let me tell you how this system was created, so you see it. I was building DJ Connection. I hired Bruce Clay, which, by the way, $8,000 a month is a lot of money. Contract 12 months. I'm not bitter about it, but it's expensive. I still pay him now, but it's like a lot of money. So you're like, I'm a DJ. Let me tell you about being a DJ. You make $167 of profit a show. Could you charge $600? So you're not making like, you know what I mean? You're getting like after I pay the DJs and the equipment breaks and hiring and sales and marketing, it's about $150. Well, it's cool. We're doing 80 a weekend, but it's still a lot of money. You know what I mean? So I'm going, there's got to be a better way. So I try to make it really affordable. And so I used to type the articles, and I wrote the best crap ever, man. It was like, you're going to love working with our DJs because I'm using big words like plethora, cornucopia. It's just a fabulous. I was like working it. I thought that's what mattered I thought having really good words was what was at. I thought and my wife was like, have you ever asked women if they've ever read these things? And I'm like,
Because most people go to the website and call. They don't like read your 40-page manifesto about DJing. And so then I'm like, wait a minute. So that's when I came with the dragon diction thing. And then that's kind of, anyway, so that's how that worked. But any other questions for Ben? Yes.
The training process to be able to get to where you were to start and then to where you are now. Like, how do you go about it? It's just this book?
My quick interruption is 2 weeks, hands-on. You're getting paid the whole time, but 2 weeks is about how long it took you to. Am I right?
2 weeks, yeah.
And then to start off, after 2 weeks, we join under your team.
You're still getting paid you're on the team right away.
Yeah, we I think there's someone their third day on, and so they're slowly picking up little by little. And
we had a young lady today who is great, and I think her head was going to explode because it's like her second day or third day. Nice lady, but it's like you've never done it before, and it's like riding a bike. And unless you're a weird person, you don't mock babies that are learning to walk. Oh, look at the baby! Look at the stupid baby! Lazy baby. You kind of coach up, mentor up. You teach. Right. Yeah. So that's the vibe there. So you learn that. And then one day Ben was like, "Hey, check it out. My wife is smart." And I go, "Your wife is smart? What is this?"
Smarter than me.
And then I'm like, "Oh, well, let's meet said person." So I'm going to bring up your wife. Is that cool? Cool. So you gotta go in now. It's for Ben. All right. Yeah. This is Amelia, and she happens to be married to that guy. And can you explain your path? How long you've been here and what you do now?
I've been here for about 6.5 months. I started in Elephant in the Room call center, and then I moved from there to sales. And then from sales, I'm now in coaching, so I've got my first 3 clients this past week, so I'm doing coaching now.
Any questions for Amelia? She's been here a while, but not super long. No?
6.5-ish.
6.5 months.
Oh, good for you. That's a lot to take over in what, 6.5 months?
Yeah, no, she's going through very fast. She's plowing through it, probably the fastest rate of anybody we've had so far. So, but that's only because Ben's her life coach and just like telling her what to do.
Can you say clients' pathways? Are you teaching them, starting them, setting up a website, and what do you mean by pathways?
Yeah, so Clay writes all the pathways. That's like their business plan.
You, sir, what questions do you have? And what is your name? Jacques. How do you spell it? Z-H-A-J? Ja. Is that like a family name? Is this common?
Not very common in my culture, but...
What does it mean?
It means dragon.
That's cool.
Can you give them a copy of Dragon Energy? My new book is called Dragon Energy. Oh, yeah. Any questions for Amelia about that? Because she's here. I mean, that's why I have her here. Because she can tell you, and you can ask her anything. Yeah.
Do you personally make a lot of cold sales?
I did when I was... Yeah. So I did when I it's kind of split now. But yeah, so when I was doing sales, that's what I did. I did cold calls.
Can you explain who you were calling for, though?
Yeah, so it's for a company called Digi Security Systems. They're a client of ours, so they actually contract out their cold calling to us. So I would call their leads, their 3100.
So we don't cold call on behalf of my business. We call on behalf of our clients. Because a lot of our clients are afraid of the phone at first. We have to explain to them, nobody woke up today with a desire to pay you. And they're like, huh? Like, nobody cares about your product. You got to go call them. And if it's a retail store, you got to get in front of them. Every business has its own path. But for Digi, they did the security systems for the Gathering Place, OSU, OU, BOK, and they get all their accounts by cold calling. So she's calling on their behalf, if that makes sense.
That's what the call center is for?
The other call center would be for Elephant in the Room, so that's men's grooming lounge. I don't know if you've heard of it. Yeah, so no matter which location you're going to, the calls all come into us, and then we schedule.
And if you move to Denver, the company I worked with for a long time up there, Denver, my partner he and I have Elephant in the Room together. The other business, though, is called OxyFresh, and there's 406 locations, carpet cleaning, and there's a major call center that books like 8,000 carpets a day. A lot of carpets.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. But inbound calls for Elephant in the Room, basically. Any other questions? You feeling good? Okay. And it's Ja. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, sure. And what is your culture, by the way? You said your culture. What's your culture? Monk? Hmong? Hmong. And where are you? Were you born here in this country?
Yeah.
Okay. Are your parents first generation immigrants?
I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Maybe my grandparents.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Excited. John. Okay. So, Ja. Got Ja.
You had a question?
Yeah, I was just curious if I did get the job, how long would I have to get everything in order to move up here? Because I don't live in Oklahoma.
And what's your name?
Roy,
Roy. And you drove here from where, Roy?
just south of Houston.
Really? For this interview?
Yes, sir.
You did.
Oh.
How did you hear about us?
Online, I saw something that said it was about graphic design, and I looked into what the company was and did a little research, and it looked really great. So.
We have about 500,000 people listen to our podcast. So we have had, I don't think the workshops you were at, but Sean, were you at the one we had people from Guam here?
Yeah, two of them.
So we have people from Guam and Canada and Australia. But no, I'm always amazed though, because you never know with the podcast where it's going to reach. You know, we've hit number 1 on iTunes 6 times, so we get different like people that find it. But that's so you. How far did you drive?
9 hours.
That's impressive. That's impressive. What are you doing now?
Right now, it's just a little part-time job. What I've been using to pay for college.
Where do you go to college?
The local junior college.
I'm super impressed. It's wild. Okay, and you're a graphic design guy?
I'm a lot of stuff. The program at the school was a video game and computer simulation type program. So I can program, I can
Got it.
write, I can design stuff.
To answer your question, what we do is we have a thing called a shadow process. And is it Carol? Is that right? Barbara. Why would I say Carol? I'm not. Boo. Boo. Okay, so Barbara. So what we do is we'd have you guys shadow. So if it was like we go through all the resumes, and I want to meet you because I go through them and I kind of want to like put a face with the resume and figure all that. And then we'll call you guys tomorrow by 9 if it's something I want to move forward. I just like to get your aura. And then we have a lot of people, and I'm the one who always meets everybody. But then we'd have a shadow where we're going to shadow like for an hour or two. I tell people just plan on like from 9 to 12, but you don't have to be the whole time necessarily. And I just want you to meet everybody who would work here to see if you'd get along and that kind of thing, you know. And then Barbara, what questions do you have? How did you hear about this place, Barbara?
I heard about it from Annie.
Oh, my mother-in-law. Cool. Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Well, what questions do you have?
I just interested to hear the jobs, and then she told me there might be some.
Yeah. Well, I will, basically the search engine optimization role, the marketing assistant, that role is open tonight. It's very dynamic though, because there's always growing, so there's a lot of people coming in. It's like Google, they're always hiring. But then you have the sales thing. I don't think we have a position open for that tonight, right?
For Elephant?
Yeah.
No.
But we do sometimes.
Yeah, it changes.
Okay. But we do have, I think, 3 spots we're looking for currently tonight. So, but any other questions you have about what we do up here?
So, do you have Annie that described that maybe something with a law firm?
Yes, I do. My attorney represents T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen and Craig Rochelle, and somehow he got stuck with me. And we handle all the marketing for them too. And they are looking for somebody who's really, really sharp to fill a long-term position. It's benefits. But they want people who've been on the planet a longer period of time. Because if you were born yesterday, one might think that, oh, this person has the best of intentions. And if you're working for a law firm, there's always kind of squirreliness. So they want people that are mature and kind of dress sharp. That's what they're looking for. People are detailed and yes. And so that position just came open yesterday, so I know about that. I can be happy to talk to you more about that. Any questions you have?
What skills do you need to be an ideal candidate?
Skills? Just be crazy coachable, like off the charts coachable, and then try to go like years without yawning. Because it's like it goes fast in here. And so we're meeting here after everyone's gone home. But Monday through Thursday, from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., it's like a sprint. And it's just, if you like energy, you like to go, you'd like it. But if you're like, I don't like this, you know?
Way too many times.
Yeah. Now, what is your name?
My name is Terry.
Terry. And what questions do you have, Miss Terry?
Well, first of all, I came here to make sure it wasn't just a sales position. Because, like, I have 2 degrees in AAS and graphic communications and MBA in graphic design.
Okay.
And the reason why I feel like it's sufficient to bring it up is because I've been looking for something like in the advertising world.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Now, I live in Fort Gibson because me and my husband, we own a ranch.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I do all the ranching and stuff like that with him, and plus I do industrial design and stuff like that. But I've had a lot of ad agencies looking at me, but I didn't want to relocate.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? Because
You don't want to move.
No.
You want to stay where you have the farm, the ranch, the husband, the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
And like he's a literary artist. We were all into art. My daughter's an artist. She's in the Air Force on top of it. She also did like her squadrons, like
Yeah.
art and stuff like that, you know. But I saw this on Indeed.
Okay.
And I was like, this is probably an opportunity for me, but wasn't sure because all the positions that I've applied for a graphic design position, you know, I mean, I want to grow, first of all.
Well, there's different kinds of, and I'll just tell you this, and I'm not trying to be negative. I just want to make sure that my buddy owns a firm called Hampton that might suit what you want to do because it's very artistic, like very creative, and they do really cool stuff. And I don't view him as a competitor, but they're like he wears like a flower in his shirt.
That's cool.
You know, and he's very like, I don't know, it's fabulous. But they have huge accounts, and that's what he does. And I'm all about like helping people get unpoor real fast. Like I'm all about like, that's cool. We could spend 7 weeks talking about the logo, but instead I'm gonna just get you to the top of Google and make a bunch of money right now. And by the way, when you shoot your YouTube video today and make a performa and fire that guy and do this, and then they're like, I'm more of like, you ever seen that show The Prophet?
Yes.
I'm like kind of like that. It's like, you know, no soup for you. It's like a high energy, fast paced. It's like people are like, are you like what is your deal? I'm just like a bowling ball. Like just go, you know, just go. And then, but the graphic design typically more like the high design. I would say Hampton and Cubic are probably the best in town for that. I'm probably more like low design but fast design, and then make money for clients. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? I count winning as like the client making more money than they're paying me as soon as possible. That's how I do it. Skills, but just super coachable. Being able to, Ben can talk to you more about that, but Ben, you were at Lowe's.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, were you typing like a boss at Lowe's?
I was not. I was moving lumber, actually. So, driving the forklift.
And I have no discernible skills. I mean, I took algebra 3 times, ACT 3 times. My wife rejected me multiple times when I proposed. Crazy. It's crazy how she said yes. Blindness. She's got blindness. She can't see. But all I'm saying is like that's you don't need a whole lot of skills. You need to have that grind, if that makes sense. And your name is Alex. Alex, where are you from, dude? Tulsa. Okay, cool. What have you been doing previous to now?
I was going to TCC. But
Yep.
I feel like that really wasn't for me, so I stopped going.
Okay. Yeah. So you tried it out, and you're kind of like, Okay. Any questions you have, sir? And what's your name again?
John.
John. Okay. John, any other questions you have, John?
So there's a graphic design
Yep.
section open?
True.
Marketing?
Yep. Graphic design and the marketing assistant will be SEO, search engine, and those will be the 2 spots tonight.
Oh, okay, the 3. Okay, so those are 2 open.
You have 2 that are open for search engine tonight. Shaw Homes is looking to hire somebody. Steve Currington's looking to hire somebody. I believe Nathan's hiring somebody for the carpet side. Do you need 1 technician tonight?
1 or 2.
1 or 2? Yeah. And what does that pay approximately?
Depending on the person, they can make 35, 40, 50,000.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a matchmaker. I try to find the right fit for the right people. So there's a couple of different spots there. And ma'am, your name? Lily. Okay, Lily. And Lily, what questions do you have? You're good? Okay, I respect that. And your name again, sir? Austin? What questions do you have?
I was just wanting to know more about the graphic design position.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up Daisy here real quick. And Amelia, I'm going to let you get back to being awesome over there. Yeah, let's hear it for Daisy. Yeah, Daisy. Woo! How long have you been here?
2 years.
Okay, what were you doing before you were here?
So before I was here, I was in education, which is surprisingly soul-sucking.
Oh.
Well, no, I love the kids.
Oh.
The politics and the bureaucracy of it all. I became kind of cynical with it. Before that, I managed a donut shop, 2 locations. I've done banking. I've done a myriad of different things, but none of them as great as here.
And you are not white?
Last time I checked.
Okay. And you're Buddhist?
Yes.
How does that impact our daily interaction?
It doesn't. We
You know that I'm a Christian. I'm always trying to convert you.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know that Ben's a Mormon, and he's always trying to convert me. He never mentions it, but I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. No, he is. This is the thing about Ben. Let me tell you about Ben. He's sneaky. He's like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to live it. And then if you want it, ask me about it. See, that's what he does. He just like sets this. He doesn't talk about it.
He sets a tone.
I mean it. Very sneaky. His wife's the same sneaky. They're both like, this guy the other day, we had barbecue. We're serving barbecue for a person who's like celebrating somebody. And, right, Ben, do you want barbecue? Tempting him.
Right.
He's like, no, I'll wait for Amelia. Doesn't know where she is. Says it's sneaky, though. And multiple people are like, this dude's not going to have barbecue while he's waiting for you. He has no idea where she is in the building. He's a good guy. So all I'm saying is, but we have different faiths in here. It doesn't have to be like you're pro. But capitalism is probably the religion that we all have, you know. What question do you have for Daisy? Because she started off on the phones, and now she manages the call center. And she's a great lady and has a great kid named Atticus who says that I'm old.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
He's like, you're old. Yes.
So the paid training is just 2 weeks or whatever that you're starting.
You're going to get paid to do. Like, you're going to be like doing it like day one.
That's awesome.
Past the first initial 2 weeks training, like what do you have? Is there the ability to then get further training on like as you go?
Yeah. What you do is you're going to work in a 90-day tour of duties, I would call it. I'm just asking you mentally to commit to work here for 90 days. Because I shouldn't do it, and my wife's kind of helping me through this, but like, I don't know, you know my mother-in-law, but she really cares about facials. And I'm like, can we let it go? No. Because she like wants to deliver a great experience. She's into that, you know? And like, I can't explain to you why, but she is. That's just her love language. She's into it. And I think clients of hers experience that, you know? And for me, I kind of view every employee as kind of like the personification of my dad, where I'm like, I don't know why my dad was so poor at the age of 38. I don't understand that. But I think it's because he wasn't taught certain skills. Because he had a degree. He was at the top of his class. He literally was at the very top of his class at ORU. And I'm like, I have to believe that if somebody would have pointed out to him, Tom, don't do this and do this. I believe he would have done this. He always worked hard. But because he worked at Quick Trip in the night shift and he worked at Domino's, I stuttered as a kid. And I got made fun of. I couldn't talk till I was 13 years old. And I got made fun of all the freaking time. And my parents couldn't afford a speech pathologist. And I have to believe they would have hired one if they could have. And so I just kind of like, I want to teach you the skills needed to pay the bill. I'm just all about like, do this, boom. And then if you want to be here for 5 years or 6 years and become a partner in one of the businesses, like a law firm, great. If you want to be on the podcast with me every day and that's your goal, great. If you want to become a real estate agent, great. If you want to become a super mom, great. I don't care. Super dad, great. I just am saying I want to help you get where you want to go. And I view it as like a tour of duty, not like a wage cage. So upward mobility is my game, you know? So every 90 days, we kind of reevaluate. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So I started off in the call center as a call center rep. And I came in through the group interview. And I was like, I literally don't care what I have to do. Like, I need to be here. So what do you have?
Right.
And at the time, Vanessa was like, well, we need somebody in our call center. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I really want to work for Thrive, but if it means being here in this environment, I will do whatever I need to do. And so I started off in the call center, and within the first 90 days, they're like, we want to promote you to call center manager. I was like, okay, cool. And I've been doing that ever since.
And she was the worst manager of all time, in my opinion, and the best salesperson at the same time. Because when she's good at her job, but then managing people, that's like where you're going like, hey, quit vaping.
So constructive criticism is awesome.
Yeah, and she like absorbed it though, you know what I mean? And so I'd be like, hey, don't argue with her, just tell her what to do. Because we had one coworker who used to like go out there and do the hula hoop, remember her?
I do.
In the middle of the day, she would just go out there and she'd be like, whoa, just hula hooping. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And then she would like get into a debate with them as opposed, you know, and then now she's great at it though. And then she messed up and said she wanted to become a speaker lady.
Yeah.
And so now she speaks at the conferences, and we have a conference in here every 2 months for our clients. About 120 people are here every time. But any other questions for Daisy about being here? No?
When you first got here,
Yeah.
like, okay, when I first came in, I was like, oh, this is so great.
Yeah.
You know, because the way it's set up
Mm.
and everything like that. I'm like, that's through the workstations. This area right here was like a photo shoot. You know, like a backdrop of a photo shoot and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then I was going over there and I was like, okay, this is where some of the graphic design comes in. You know. And
Every
I was
picture
like,
on every wall has been put there specifically, and then all the writing is my handwriting. So I'm always My dad died. There he is. Rip Tom Clark. Tom Bomb. It's Tom Bomb. So I put that there because I felt like I needed to have it. I see it all the time when I'm speaking. Some conferences. I'm always thinking of my dad. So and then like victory, I think that's a big word. It's important. But anyway, so it's just a different place. It's a fun place. But I would like for you to meet the teammates before you kind of decide A or B. What I want to do is I had questions for Justice and Jaw and for Barbara. I had some questions for you guys based upon your resume. And I would like for Amelia to give a tour of you so you can see everything. Okay? So if you guys here, you three, can go with Amelia, that'd be great. And then if you three can go with Daisy and Ben on a tour, let's give them a tour. That cool? And then I have some questions for you guys. And then do you have your printed resumes tonight? Okay, because I have a few questions. And then those of you who are interested in the graphic design, have you all emailed in your portfolios?
Yes.
Okay, those have all been emailed?
Yeah.
Okay, so before you go today, I would like... Yeah, so before anybody, because graphic design comes down to me, I have to like obsess and look at your portfolios because we've got so many talented people applying, and I like to personally look at that. So before you leave, if you have access to a mobile device or something, if you could please, I want you to verify they do it, send it to founder@thrive15.com.
And that is how we do it. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Step 4, the for the good of the brand phase. At this point, Kermit is now going to openly disagree with you during a meeting where a large number of your teammates are present, and he will start asking gotcha questions during the meeting.
We've all seen this. This is when Fox interviews Obama or CNN interviews Trump. The reporter is trying to ask a gotcha question, the kind of question that paints the interviewee into a corner. All right? So at this point, approximately 85% of employees, not everyone, are going to openly disagree with you during a meeting where a large number of your teammates are present, and they're going to try to start asking gotcha questions during meetings. As a hypothetical example, they will say, I know that you say that social media is a waste of time during our workday, yet I saw you actually post something on Facebook. This actually happened to me years ago. So, I pointed out to the employee, it's an auto-responded, auto-posted, it's a Hootsuite, and I've already thought through the posts for the next month, and those post at intervals that I've already chosen. Second of all, when that doesn't happen, I have other people on our team who update our social media accounts and post out content during the day. But no, that was not me. But right there, why would someone do that? It shows that they now disrespect you. You get to see who they really are. So about 10 weeks ago, Kermit was honored. He was honored. I remember the word. He says, Kermit said, I was honored to earn a job on your team, and probably wrote some nice thank you notes about how you changed his life and how he will never leave you because he's too grateful. But now, he has begun to openly disagree with you in front of your team. The team you started, the company you founded, the business you manage, because Kermit is now officially, air quotes, officially, on his way out. Now, he will never announce to you that he is fully committed to quitting because Kermit has now recognized the incredible super move called the power to complain while lacking the courage to quit. Kermit now looks unhappy most of the time while trying to play it off like a fourth grader that has just fallen off of their skateboard. Skateboarding's what I do. Skateboarding's what I do. Little trick. Skateboarding is what it's so easy. Oh, look at that sexy lady. Hey, sexy. Oh, wow. Look at me. Here we go. Check out this move.
Bobby, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Just a lot of internal bleeding, but I'll be fine.
Wow.
Take a moment and look up this fun fact. Just take a moment and do it. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce estimates that 75% of employees steal from the workplace, and that most do so repeatedly. Think about that. Here's a notable quotable, a little word of encouragement from Ben Horowitz, the best-selling author of The Hard Thing About Hard Things, a man who built a company called Opsware, which he later sold to Hewlett-Packard for $1.6 billion billion of cash. Billion with a B. Billion. He knows what he's talking about. He went from a startup to selling a company to Hewlett-Packard for $1.6 billion. What's his name? His name is Ben Horowitz. And he says, every time I read a management or self-help book, I find myself saying, that's fine, but that wasn't really the hard thing about the situation. The hard thing isn't setting a big, hairy, audacious goal. The hard thing is laying people off when you miss the goal. The hard thing isn't hiring great people. The hard thing is when those great people develop a sense of entitlement, and they start demanding unreasonable things. The hard thing isn't setting up an organizational chart. The hard thing is getting people to communicate within the organization that you just designed. The hard thing is getting people to communicate within the organization that you just designed. The hard thing isn't dreaming big. The hard thing is waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat when the dream has turned into a nightmare. Again, I repeat, the hard thing is waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat when the dream turns into a nightmare. Jason, if anybody out there is listening right now and they're struggling to manage people, would you agree, or what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's possible to manage people the way we do and hold people accountable to the standard of excellence that we have if we weren't always interviewing? Would it be possible?
No, it wouldn't be.
That's what I'm saying. And what would be if we didn't do the group interview? How would we have to do it?
We would have to schedule out time, spend all of the time that we're using to help grow the business, work on the business, whatever.
It'd be a full-time job for somebody.
Exactly.
Just recruiting people.
Yeah, because case in point, Monday, one of my clients came to the meeting and he had 8 people that showed up at that group interview.
8.
That's an entire work day for him if he decided to sit down and do those in one day.
That's very, very true. So if you're out there today, do the group interview. Don't fight the system. The system works.
Step 6, the passive-aggressive phase. They openly defy you by asking passive-aggressive questions like, do I really need to be at this meeting? I don't know whether I'm really adding value to this meeting or not. I'll attend, if you think that this meeting actually adds value.
That right there is a culture killer. I remember years ago, we had a member of the team who their job was to record content, not even to record the content. Their job was to take the content that was being recorded and to transcribe it and to add in the right keywords for search engine optimization purposes. But when you're optimizing content on a website, let me tell you, it takes a while to see results. Jason, think about some of your clients right now who are starting to get big results. Give me one client who's having some really good results with the search engine right now. Maybe let's go with the roofer.
Yeah, Marty.
Marty, what's his company called?
So Marty has Advanced Commercial Systems here in Broken Arrow and Tulsa.
And he's now coming up top in the Google searches for Broken Arrow commercial buildings, commercial roofing,
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take him? Do you remember how long he said it took him?
He said that it took him, all in all, 9 months.
9 months to get to the top of Google. Well, we've taken so many companies to the top of Google and our own companies to the top of Google. If you Google Tulsa Cookies, you'll see one of the companies we've helped, Barbie Cookies. If you Google Tulsa Mortgages, you're going to see one of the companies we've helped, Total Ending Concepts. If you Google so many different phrases, you're going to find the results of the search engine optimization that we do for clients. But let me tell you, a company like OxyFresh, if you Google carpet cleaning quotes, a company like OxyFresh that's now top in Google with over 160,000 objective reviews, that kind of company, that kind of success just does not happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you want to get your company to the top of Google, you got to hold your team accountable to doing it. I had a member of the team who's like, well, we're not top in Google yet. And he kept saying that every day. Well, we're not top in Google yet. I've been doing this all day. We're not top in Google yet. And I'm going, yeah, Google doesn't work that way. Google allows you to get to the top of Google only if you consistently over time follow their formula. There are four variables that will allow you to get to the top of Google. There's variable number 1 is whoever has the most objective Google reviews. Whichever company has the most objective Google reviews gathered over time will be top in Google. 2, it's whoever has the most original HTML text content. The company that has the most hypertext markup language content. The company with the most original words that relate to that subject, the most original, relevant words. Whoever has the most words related to that keyword gets to be top over time. That's how it works. Then third, it's the company that has the most mobile compliance. You got to make your website work on mobile devices. And fourth, it's the website that has the most Google canonical compliance. Are you following the systems? Are you following the rules set forth by Google? If you are doing those things, you get to be at the top of Google, but it doesn't happen overnight. Why? Because if Google let any company get to the top of Google that wanted to be the top of Google, instantly you wouldn't use Google anymore. I mean, if any company could be at the top of Google simply as a result of wanting to be at the top of Google and putting in work for an hour, you wouldn't trust the search results because they'd be flaky. They'd be changing all the time. So I pulled this guy aside. He'd been with us for years, and I said, you have to follow the system. And he's like, yeah, but I mean, when am I going to see results? And I'm going, it doesn't matter. You're getting a paycheck. Just do your job. And this guy was like, well, do I really need to come to these meetings? And at that point, I knew, regardless of how long he'd been there previously, he's done. Right. The moment someone questions you and says, do I have to come to this meeting? You know they're done. Back to the story. They tried to trap you to yet another gotcha question. If you require them to actually be at the mandatory meeting, they will sulk and add no value, thus bringing the energy down in the meetings. Oftentimes, they will then openly attack anyone in the meeting that has tried to come up with the pragmatic and practical solution to the problem. They no longer ever come up with their own solutions. They just attack the others who do provide the solutions. If you told them no, they would get their feelings hurt and they would still sulk. This is a lose-lose situation. And this is when the not showing up to work phase begins. Tomorrow, I might not show up to work tomorrow. Maybe I will. Tomorrow, I probably won't show up to work tomorrow unless I do. Shunda. The beautiful people, the beautiful people, the beautiful people, the beautiful people.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Step 7, the checked out phase. The art of the no-show.
Passive-aggressive people have the courage to quit at their job emotionally, yet they lack the courage and the financial capacity needed to quit showing up to their job physically. These people start saying completely insincere statements like, can I just call in for today's meeting? Or do I really need to meet this week? We pretty much just go over the same stuff every week, right? I mean, and this is if they actually decided to show up or call you at all. Their appearance becomes increasingly more and more rare. It is during this time of lamenting, venting, and secretly sharing their frustrations with everyone but you, the boss, but you, the employer, but you, the person who has the capacity to make the changes needed. They don't share with you the issues. They share with everybody else their issues. They share with everybody. Oh, everybody. They share it with their hairstylist. They share it with their mom. They share it with their neighbor, their cousin, their boyfriend, other coworkers. They share it with everybody. They want their toxic feelings to be known by everyone except for you. Because to your face, they will look at you and they will smile. But they share their feelings with everybody but you. While they pursue a job at a company that directly competes with you while you're paying them. You're paying them during the day and using your $10 an hour, $12 an hour, $20 an hour, whatever you're paying them per hour, they're taking at least half of that hour to go on Indeed and Craigslist and look for other jobs. Oh, yes, while they're driving around on company time, they're looking for other jobs. Yes, they call in sick and they're applying for other jobs. They look great the next day, but they call in sick today to go look for another job. I've seen this process of becoming an anti-your business terrorist hundreds of times. And what will happen next is never positive. Put on a helmet because you're about to be attacked. Fun fact, the unemployment rate has crept up to 4%, even though hiring remains quite strong. Market watch. Well, why is that a good, why is it encouraging? Well, it's not that encouraging. It's a thing where we have, as an American society, it's amazing that the unemployment rate is at 4% right now, because there's much more than 4% of the population that is unwilling to work. I mean, we're like begging people to work now in today's economy. There are people that won't. We all know somebody who doesn't want a job. And if they do get a job, they show up late and complain about the job. How remarkable is that we have such a great economy that 4% is the unemployment rate, when really it should probably be 50%. I mean, right? If we only hired the people that wanted to actually work, the unemployment rate would probably be at 50%. Here's a little encouraging, notable quotable for you from Andy Grove, the former CEO and one of the founding partners of Intel. Andy Grove says, "Only the paranoid survive." Now, Andrew, you have worked with us. For how long have you worked with me there, my friend?
I think it's about 3 years now.
And what position did you originally start in when you started your journey on the Clay Clark expedition?
Ooh, I was a wedding photographer at the very, very beginning.
And where did you work at before coming to work at Epic Photography?
Before Epic, I was at Chick-fil-A.
Okay, and had you ever done professional photography before?
I had not.
Okay, so you learned the photography skill.
Yep.
And then you've also learned web development.
True.
You've learned coding. You've learned graphic design.
Coding, WordPress, graphic design.
What else have you learned? I've
been able to learn videography on top of the photography.
Okay.
Video editing. I was able to learn sales calls.
Sales calls, yeah.
I did that. I was able to learn SEO.
Search engine optimization.
How to write, how to upload, how to optimize. And again, web development and business consulting.
And you're married.
And I'm married. I learned that here.
How old are you?
I'm 21 now.
21, and you own a rental house.
True.
Are you on the verge of maybe buying another one, or what's your plan for the next one?
Yeah, maybe. We're looking.
And you save what percentage of your income?
A total between my wife and I, we save about 50% of our entire income.
And now your wife actually manages all 3 Elephant in the Room locations.
She does.
Amanda's doing a great job. So you're a couple. You've learned a lot. You've been with us for a long time. You've seen the process of coaching clients. You've coached some clients yourself. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to me about what happens if you stop doing the group interview?
Yeah.
If you stop recruiting people on a weekly basis, what starts to happen?
Yeah, so once you stop doing the group interview, or if you don't start, your employees will hold you hostage. And you will have people quit, or you will have people not show up to work because they want to take a personal day, which I don't know what that means, but they will do that. They will take a personal day. They will take a sick day. They will just say someone else in their family is sick, and they will take a day off for that. Or they will just up and quit because they don't want to work there.
Jason, how often have you seen this happen with your clients or within the Elephant in the Room, where you're managing people and they get to a place where you know they're ready for all-out war next? You know the employee is ready. I mean, they don't have the courage to quit. They just keep showing up.
Yep.
But you see the hostility. You see the anger building. You can sense it building. It's getting worse every day, getting worse. It's getting more intense. There's more passive-aggressive comments. And you can see those be fighting words.
Oh, absolutely.
You see this often?
Yeah, and it angers people because I'm that kind of person. Like, I don't want to say that I'm non-confrontational. I just don't like arguments. Like, we could have a conversation, and then we could like try to grow. But I don't. I also do that weird thing where, like, if you say something that's ridiculous, I'll laugh, which has gotten me in trouble growing up as a kid.
So I'm just saying, we're very, very close here to being in a horrible situation as an employer. When we go into the all-out war phase, if you are not doing that group interview, what's going to happen?
You are going to lose an employee, which is going to hurt your business.
Yep.
And then potentially, if you are not doing the group interview and they decide that they're going to take their buddy who also works there with them, you are double screwed.
So Thrive Nation, readers of this great book, don't let your employees hold you hostage. Get ready for step 8, the prepare for war phase.
Scorpion, win.
Step 8, the prepare for war phase. They now have become full-page keyboard warriors who love to communicate exclusively via email.
Oh, yeah. When an employee has the courage to complain, but not the courage to quit, get ready for the all-out war. Get ready. Just prepare for the war phase, my friend. The people who have decided to quit working with you, but who don't have the courage needed to actually quit getting paid by you, love to communicate with you via email. Oh, yes, they do. In fact, they love writing this to you via email and certified mail. Certified mail. Oh, yeah, the people who you haven't heard from in 5 years, 3 years, 6 years, they've been sitting on it now, and here they come. They're all lawyered up, baby. They're ready to go, and they're going to communicate to you via email or certified mail because their attorney has advised them to do so. Because the things they would never say to your face, oh, no, they're too weak to say them to your face. But they're too weak to say them to your face. They're not going to be direct with you. Unless they are high or drunk, or unless they can use their wife or an attorney as a scapegoat to make statements like, hey, my wife just thinks I don't get paid what I'm worth. Or, hey, my attorney has advised me to do it this way. These types of emails the types of emails that they send are always full of half-truths and content that's 99% emotional. It's feelings over fact, okay? Feelings over facts. I feel like you don't appreciate all that I have done for this company and for you. And I need to finally get paid what I'm worth. I've slaved away for you for years, as though they don't have opportunities to work somewhere else, right? I have slaved away for you as though that paycheck wasn't something they received. I slaved away for you as though the education they learned wasn't good. I slaved away for you, and I just can't believe that I'm being treated like the dog that you truly are. How long did it take them to think of that pithy line? And things like that. They don't ever remember that you are the one that taught them everything and that they now know and that they are now using what you've taught them to compete now against you. When they send those types of emails, you can also guarantee that they will not be in the building later that week for you to discuss it in person. If they finally do show back up, they are all smiles and never ever mention sending the email at all. This is assuming that they ever send you an email. Many times they will talk about you in a derogatory manner while hanging out with their other employees who currently work for you. They try to make everybody dislike you or their newest live-in girlfriend or their newest live-in boyfriend. They love to tell people false things about you. They love to write false things about you on Reddit. They love to be courageous under an anonymous screen name. The courage that they have to write under that anonymous screen name, the half-truths on Reddit. Or Glassdoor, or what? Google or Facebook. They love to write on these things. Yes, they do. They love to leave comments. They say, if you want to know the real truth about this person, let me tell you, I worked there for 5 years, and this is what happened. And before they leave, they want to create a weird atmosphere for both you and your current team. Andrew, it's sad when this happens, but why do you think that most people have the courage to complain to everybody else, but not to actually quit? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, but they just...
You see it happen all the time.
I do. I see it happen multiple times in a lot of different companies, but your employees, they're not going to have the courage to walk up to you and to tell you what they're thinking or what they're just going to do everything behind your back, and they're going to try to... They don't want to have that conversation with you because it's rejection. It's hard. It's like a weird, difficult conversation.
They want to avoid the conflict.
Exactly. Yeah.
The confrontation.
Right.
They want to do what's easiest.
Yep.
Water flows downhill.
That's right.
So, Jason, if we didn't do the group interview, though, if we stop doing that group interview, if we stop recruiting people, what happens? What do you think it happens right here when you're in the war phase where they don't have the courage to quit, but now they're sending full-page emails complaining about management under an anonymous email? What happens then, Jason?
Well, if you weren't already hiring now, it's going to hurt. It could potentially hurt your image. But on top of that, you're still employing somebody and you don't have anybody in the pipeline to get that negativity out of there. So that weird environment that they're trying to manifest just keeps festering and growing bigger and bigger.
And we had Rabbi Lappin on the show. He was talking about the Old Testament and what the Old Testament means literally. And he talked about how in the Hebrew language, the word money means certificate of appreciation. So if you're paying somebody who you don't like, somebody who's doing a bad job, you're appreciating, you are cheering for poor performance. You're saying, woo, yeah, oh yeah, you're late. I love that. Come on, you don't do that checklist. I love when you don't do that checklist. Come on, baby, I love it. Oh yes, you don't follow the script. I love when you don't follow the script. And if you complain about the employee and don't have the courage to fire them, you're in the same boat. You guys are in the same boat, going in a different direction, which is weird, but you're in the same boat. You're each paddling fast the other way, trying to rip that boat apart in the middle. You just gotta have that confrontation. You gotta have that conversation. And running a business is like playing chess, so you gotta make sure that the timing is correct. The timing has to be right. So what you have to do is you gotta make sure that you always have a steady pipeline of new candidates applying for jobs at all times. And we come back, step number 9. Step number 9, Jason, what is step number 9 all about?
Step number 9 is the all-out war phase.
So now we're in the all-out war. Get ready, because it's about ready to go down.
Step 9, the all-out war phase. At this point, they have begun passive-aggressively using slight legal threats like, well, you will need to speak to my attorney, or my uncle is an attorney and has advised me to speak to my attorney before communicating with you further.
Once a chronic underperformer discovered that they are going to be fired, think about this. Once the chronic underperformer discovers that they are going to be fired from the job that they quit mentally showing up for months ago, they then go out and hire a no-talent ambulance-chasing attorney to represent them. This person who once talked to you about every issue in their personal life, they needed rides to work, they needed you to coach them, to mentor them, they had a lot of personal issues that you needed to help them through. You were their mentor for years. Now they say, you have to talk to my attorney. They said, well, my attorney has advised me to not speak on that further. It's all about my attorney. My attorney says, once the Kermits of your life have moved on and have started something else, most of the time they will end up directly competing against you, or stealing your clients to compete against you. And they will create a business based on all of the things that you taught them. Their entitlement and bitterness, feeling underappreciated or undervalued for not allowing them to build their personal brand, oh boy, has created this big monster, this new monster called rage. They now begin using this rage in the form of suing you or invoicing you for work they did in the past. They begin invoicing you for work they did in the past that they forgot to turn in. This is a no win-win zone here. This is a complete no win-win zone here. The damage is done and the relationship is irreparable. They will go around town dragging your name down through the mud. So a super move is to call everyone that you know that you both know first. You want to call everyone that you both know, the mutual acquaintances, and you want to let everybody know what actually happened. Because let me tell you what happens when you do not tell people the truth of what happened. They do this. They say, hey, I just want to let you know, I went out and started my own thing. It's because they weren't paying me well. They were abusing me, taking advantage of me. They never let me build my personal brand, and I just want you to know. So now your reputation gets dragged through the mud as a way for them to say, as a way for the employee to thank you for the years of paychecks you've provided them. Warren Buffett once said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. So be sure to protect your reputation from lies and slander. Robert Greene, the best-selling author of The 48 Laws of Power, writes, reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once you let it slip, though, however, you are vulnerable and you will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Notable quotable. Winston Churchill, the British politician, the army officer and writer. He was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1940 to 1945. He once said, this is Winston Churchill. This is the guy who stood up to Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was trying to take over the world, and he was dominating Europe. And he was threatening to kill. England was the last free portion of Europe. And he said, listen, Mr. Winston Churchill, this is what Adolf Hitler said. He said, if you will turn over your Jews and become part of the Third Reich, become part of the Nazi regime, I will spare the lives of your people. That's the offer that was being made. And Winston Churchill could have done that, but he decided to stand up and to fight against Adolf Hitler. The only one willing to do it. This is before the American support. Look up the history. Look up the timeline. America was not coming to help. Winston Churchill wanted to die fighting if need be, but he was not going to submit to the tyranny of Adolf Hitler. And he said, you have enemies? Good. That means that you've stood for something sometime in your life. I could not agree more. And during the next chapter, we talk about the can't move on phase. Step 10, the final phase of this incredible book, this incredibly humble book. Don't let your employees hold you hostage. Because after the employees finally moved on, for some reason they struggle they just can't move on. Once they physically moved on, they no longer work there. They just, for some reason, can't move on. Dear diary. I used to work for Clay Clark. And if you only knew about the form of mental abuse that I faced while working there, he made me show up to work on time. And when I just stole some headphones, borrowed headphones, I forgot they were on. I took it home. And I did reach out to one of his current clients and try to steal them away and start my own business with them. And I don't understand why he won't return my call anymore. I just wanted to build my own business and my own brand by stealing a client. That's all I was doing. That's what happens, though, right? They can't move on. What are they, lamenting in their journal at night? No, they're not lamenting on their journal. They're lamenting on Reddit. They're lamenting on LinkedIn. They're forming anonymous Google accounts and leaving you bad reviews. They're writing bad about you on YouTube comments. They're doing whatever they can because they can't move on. Because they are a no-talent ass clown. I hate to slap your baby, but 75% of employees steal from the workplace, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. 78% of men have an affair, according to the Washington Post. And 85% of people lie on their resumes, according to Inc. magazine. My friends, we live in a dark world, and you are called to be the light. It's not mean, it's not negative, it's just the truth. The facts are important to know. You can handle the truth, and you must understand that most people are not that great. All right? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I hate to slap your baby, but we must move on, knowing the truth.
Step 10, the can't move on phase. Since your ex-employee had no money and they did not have any immediate success, they decided to invest their idle time, which is all of their time, suing you, booing you, and writing bad online reviews about the success that you have built. Their bitterness is out of control here. They have decided to commit their days to sitting there and sulking while smoking pot.
Hey, man.
They only remember
seriously, that's what happens, right? They end up sitting at home, smoking pot, talking about their anxiety, leaving bad online reviews about you randomly, unliking photos, unsubscribing to things, blocking you on Facebook, blocking you on Instagram. We're all connected so much with social media. It takes about a nuclear half-life to just remember all the ways you're connected. You're like, frick, I got to unlike them. Got to unlike their business. Got to defriend them. Got to un-Instagram them, unlike them. Got to un-YouTube subscribe. Got to get off the Twitter. Got to quit following them on Twitter. Got to block their phone number. Got to block their text messages. Got to switch addresses. Got to burn all my clothes and become a hippie. It's just people, they have a hard time moving on. And then they only remember the times that when you had to pull them aside and tell them to be on time, to get their job done, to hit deadlines. Now they now resent you for ever having tried to help them become a better version of themselves. They hate you for your success, and they want it for themselves, but without making any sacrifices at all. Simply put, they loathe you, but they always loathe you. But they lack the courage needed to ever talk to you about it or the brain to resolve it and move on. So what do? They spent all their free time. Let's face it. They do have a lot of free time here since they aren't employed, bashing you all over social media, suing you, and making up false stories about you. It is best to ignore them and their burning passion for hating you flame out, much like their passion for working with you once did. Now, here are some Bible verses for the Kermits out there, for the employees who try to hold you hostage, that they're not going to like very much, but I thought we should put them all together at one time and read them to you. So Proverbs 24 says what, Jason? Oh, hey, I cut him off guard. That was tricky.
Clear my throat.
Proverbs 24.
Sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing.
There it is. If you're a slacker, go back to the agricultural society, the agrarian society, you had to sow seeds to reap a harvest. And just like that in modern times, you got to do work to get paid. Proverbs 6:9 reads what, Jason?
How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep?
Think about that. Proverbs 6:9. It says, we're asking a question here. It says, how long will you lie there, you sluggard? Ooh, a nice little jab there. When will you get up from your sleep? Wow. Proverbs 21:25 reads what, Jason?
The craving of a sluggard will be the death of him because his hands refuse to work.
Proverbs 21:25 reads, the craving of a sluggard will be the death of him because his hands refuse to work. Again, the cravings of a sluggard will be the death of him because his hands refuse to work. So now that you've heard all this stuff, what's the conclusion? What do you need to do? How can you prevent yourself from ever being held hostage again? How do you keep yourself from ever allowing your employees to hold you hostage again? Well, the whole point of this book is to show you what can and will happen to you if you let employees and their problems fester. Between my partners and I, we've employed thousands of employees. Think about that. And I can honestly say that there are a few great exceptions out there that do not fall into the 85% of employees, for the most part, being terrible. I believe we have those great people on our team now, but I've had to sift through a lot of idiots to find the right people. Today, I employ a great team of people who are here for a season to grow and are thankful for what they are learning and what they have learned. But there are also the terrorist employees that will try to hold you hostage out there. Don't let this happen to you. On the following pages, you'll see some action steps that you can take to make sure you are never being held hostage. Step number 1. Never stop hiring. A small team of A-plus players can run circles around a giant team of B and C players. Steve Jobs. Again, the co-founder of Apple, the former CEO of Pixar, and the founder of Next, Steve Jobs, says, a small team of A players can run circles around a giant team of B and C players. Even when you are fully staffed, never, ever stop looking for great employees to make room for. Constant recruitment allows you to never be put into a bind. It allows you to never put yourself in a corner where you're painting yourself into a corner. Constant recruitment allows you to never be put into a bind again. Or those awkward situations where an employee decides to move on and you can't cover the work that you've promised to do for your clients and your customers. Step 2, never stop the group interview. Steve Jobs says, and again, Steve Jobs, this is the man who revolutionized the entire computer industry, the music industry, the animated film industry. This guy used to be the head of Pixar. This is the guy who got all the record labels to team up together to make iTunes possible. This is the guy who revolutionized the personal computer. He said some people aren't used to an environment where, excellence is expected. Again, he says, some people aren't used to an environment where, excellence isn't expected. Let's try that again. Some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. The group interview is a system that I've refined over the past 20 years of self-employment. I've been doing this since I was 16 years old, okay? I'm 38. I've been 22 years I've been self-employed. The group interview is the system that I've refined over the past 22 years of self-employment, where you can interview multiple people at the same time for the same position. This is powerful because it allows you to find or look for good people for an hour a week instead of having to allocate hours and hours to sit down and interview each and every person, half of which you can't figure out how to show up on time. Step 3, Jason. What do you got here? What's step number 3?
Never stop having people shadow you.
So Andrew Carnegie, the man who became one of the world's wealthiest men in his lifetime, says what on the subject, Jason?
The older I get, the less I pay attention to what people say, and the more I look at what they do.
After you find a seemingly good person from the group interview, they have to then shadow you for a day for the following reasons. Anyone can pretend to be awesome for an hour during an interview, but holding up that facade for several hours is a little bit more tough. 2, this is their opportunity to see what it is you do, and for them to build a foundational relationship with you, to see if they like you and you like them. Let's see if they actually would like to work in your environment, and would you like them to work in your environment? This is your opportunity, point 3, this is your opportunity to see how they think and what level of skill they have for the job that you're hiring them for. Now, step number 4, Jason. What's step number 4?
Never push an employee past their lid.
The leadership expert John Maxwell, the guy who wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, says, the leadership expert John Maxwell says, he talks about how each person has their own personal lid, or the limit of their competence, the competency. How much can they handle? And once you try to push someone to be greater than they want to be, they will resent you for it. Step 5 is what, Jason?
Never teach an employee the entire business.
Each employee can have specific roles within the company, but once you teach an employee all of the ins and outs of the business, you have created your future competitor. Step number 6 is what, Jason?
Mentally fire uncoachable people.
When you watch an employee go from being coachable and eager to learn to being not able to receive any feedback at all, any constructive criticism at all, mentally fire that person and replace them at the most convenient time for you, the business owner. Really? Is that what you do? That's what you do. Why? Because we're playing chess here. Okay, you don't have to broadcast to the world. You don't have to tell the world, hey, here's the deal, Germany. We're going to be bombing you at 2020 in this ridiculous, easily offended world. We like to think that we should tell America our game plan for engaging in war. Think about how that would work, Jason. If it, excuse me, Mr. Hitler, are you there? Okay, Mr. Hitler, I just want you to know I'm representing America. We will be attacking you tomorrow at 2:47 with 27 tanks, 1,000 infantry. I just want you to know to make sure it's fair. Yeah. Get out of here. It's war. If somebody's screwing you, choose the time to let them go and make sure it's convenient for you. Dr. Zellner, my partner and co-host of the Thrive Time Show podcast, says a business exists to please the owner. A business exists to please the owner. Dr. Robert H. Zellner has been a successful optometrist and entrepreneur within the city of Tulsa for 22 years. However, most would consider him to be an entrepreneur first and an optometrist second, third, fourth, or fifth. As a self-made millionaire and entrepreneur who started with nothing but passion, his current business ventures include Z66 Auto Auction, Rockin' Z Ranch, Dr. Z's Sleep Center, Dr. Robert H. Zellner & Associates, and Thrive15.com. He has served as the director of the board of the bank, Regent Bank, they invested in 2008. Dr. Zellner is one of those rare entrepreneurs that decided to go buy a bank. I'm not sure if that gives him any credibility there, but he went out and decided to buy a bank. Instead of depositing in a bank, he said, let's go buy a bank. So in March of 2008, he was the director of the board of Regent Bank, the bank that he's an investor and part owner of. And he did that from March 2008 through January of 2013. He's known for consistently saying, I'd rather invest in a business that I have control over. And he has made enough money that he is now in that I'm going to wear a soccer jersey and shorts everywhere phase of his life. He deeply cares about humans and is involved in countless philanthropic causes, not the least of which includes his benevolent tasering and mentoring of myself, Clay Clark. And again, Dr. Zellner says, a business exists to please the owner. My friends, now that you know what to do, it's up to you to implement. It's up to you to never let your employees hold you hostage again. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Daryl, where are my pants? Daryl. My pants. The streaking thing was cool, but I can't find my pants. Then sing with me now, all the white people, all the black people, all the Samoans. Here we go. Alrighty, then all the people on the left. Alrighty, then all the ladies now. Alrighty, then all the fellas. Alrighty, then all the left-handed people. Alrighty. I can use both hands though. I'm not just left-handed. Then
pull it through the paint, wiggling it. See? Wiggle it.